Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our webinar today. This webinar is held in conjunction with the Financial Literacy Month 2021 organized by Financial Education Network. The aim is to provide financial literacy for consumers, micro-enterprises, and SMEs in helping them to making sound decisions in order for them to navigate their finances during this challenging time. And together with us today, we have distinguished guest, Datin Arlina Arif, Director Development and Inclusion Department, Bank Negara Malaysia, Puan Nur Fazlin, General Manager Operations and Business Development Division, Agency Counseling dan Pengurusan Kredit, or better known as AKPK, and Encik Guna Sekaran Sundram, graduate from AKPK Debt Management Program. Our topic today is Redress, the Financial Stress. Help is always available. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the pandemic has inevitably impacted our economy and whether directly or indirectly, the livelihoods of our consumers too. We noted there are consumers that has lost their jobs or experienced reduce in their income, and as a result, they are not able to meet their debt commitment. So allow me to start our discussion today with my first question. Why is it so important for consumers to seek help when they know that why is it important for consumers to seek help early when they know that they are facing financial difficulties? I wish to start this discussion with Puan Nur Fazlin from AKPK to share her perspective on this, and followed by Datin Arina, and of course, last but not least, Encik Guna Sekaran. Over to you, Puan Nur Fazlin.
Thank you, Haslinda. To answer your question, yes, it is important for us to seek help early when we are facing financial difficulties, because we want to prevent issues from getting out of control. And we do not want the issues to escalate even more to the next level where solution by then can be difficult to obtain. Yeah. So sharing the experience that we have at AKPK, when we talk about financial difficulties, is more normally about people not managing their debts very well. For example, there are consumers who come to AKPK quite late. For instance, there is a hearing date fixed by the court because the consumer would have defaulted in their loan repayment and whatsoever. But what happened is that the customer does not come to AKPK until the last minute. For instance, the hearing is say just next week, and the customer only approached AKPK this week. So it's a bit like the time is a bit strained or a bit tight. So here, timing is important, meaning that if the customer were to come and see AKPK earlier, we could have put in a proposal for a debt management program, which is DMP in AKPK, and on behalf of the borrower, and we will be able to sort of like discuss with the banks on what is best for the borrower to repay back the debts. And the consumer, on the other hand, of course, can avoid the hassle of going to the court and so on. So here, we are saying that the thing is, when debt is unmanageable, especially when we have a lot of financial commitments like having to pay your housing loan, your car loan, your personal loan, credit card, and so on, it can be really stressful and can affect you as a person. So here, the financial challenges can somewhat sort of like affect your mental state. And when you are emotionally troubled, you will be like sort of like thinking how you're going to pay off your debts, you know? And sometimes our relationship with family and friends can also be affected. So because of that, it is important for us to be aware of what we should do when we are facing financial challenges. So that's from me for now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Puan Nur Fazlin. That was a very good sharing. So if I can just summarize, we have to come early so that things will not go out of control, and timing is very important so that AKPK can give timely help. And Datin Alina, what about you? Can you share your thoughts on this, please?
I would like to say that actually help is always available. When I say that, is that whether we are in a pandemic situation or, you know, a normal situation or the new normal situation, help is always available. And for borrowers, they should always remember, go to the financial institution, go to the banks and seek help and approach them early enough so that if you have any issues, get it settled and get help from the banks. The banks are obliged to help you. And this is where Bank Negara would like to stress that, we have always insisted that assistance will always remain available as long as it's required. So that is the thing that most financial consumers, borrowers must remember. You need to go to your bank, and having failed that, then seek other help. So since the pandemic started, there has been many instances where there is auto moratorium and then targeted repayment assistance. And these are things that sometimes you cannot decide on your own. You need to speak to your banker, all right? Speak to your banker, understand what is available to you upfront. And if you don't understand, please ask. I know bankers sometimes their language is a bit too, how do I say it? Too canggih, if you don't mind me using the word. And people do not understand. So therefore, every borrower who's approaching the banks must be able to understand what is available for them in terms of assistance from the banks. And you are advised to request the bank to explain everything to you. For example, if you're going to take a targeted repayment assistance, do understand that that may come with some cost, and depending on what kind of assistance you apply for, it might lead to higher cost. So there is a need to understand that. And if you did not lose a job, nor get retrenched, or having a lower income, there is a need to assess whether you really need such assistance, and from there, engage back with the banks, discuss, and know what is the terms and conditions that will be put in front of you. So again, don't be afraid. Just go and seek help and do it as early as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Datin. So yes, for all the consumers here today, the most important thing is that first step is to go back to your bank, discuss and get them to explain in detail, and do it early, yeah, Datin? And yes. Yeah, okay. And now we would like to hear from Encik Guna Sekaran. Over to you, Encik Guna.
Okay, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Guna Sekaran Sundram. I'm a 58 years old guy. Okay, first I start off with my own personal along problem. Quite some time back, I was staying with my mother's house with my brother and my wife. And what happened was, I went into a long problem because my brother's house was going on auction. That was the first option he was going. So what I did was, I told my brother I will help him. I spoke to my wife. My wife told me, we will help him to take over the house first. Later on, we will pay him back. So one day I was in my office, my brother walked in and he told me to sign an IOU slip for $10,000, which I didn't see the money. He told me that he wants me to pay. He wants to pay the court to settle off the house. So what I did was I signed the IOU slip, and the along guy took my ATM card. He told me monthly he has to take from my salary $1,000. But I was earning only $850 a month. I also am a banker. So what happened was, from there, a lot of things happened. I couldn't pay. My wife is a normal staff only. I couldn't pay. I start borrowing a lot of money to settle off all these alongs. This along guy, because I have to pay another 150. I have to look after my family. I have got one son. I have to pay the household things and everything, which I'm staying with my mother. This has been dragging on very long. I start borrowing from my relatives and all. So friends and relatives start giving me money. The thing is, when they give money, I cannot pay them back. So that means what I'm trying to say is, I become more and more, I start borrowing money. I owe a lot of people money. And at one point of time, I was staying with my brother at that time. He told me to leave the house. Okay, he told me to leave the house. I said, why do you want me to go with my son and my wife? He said, no, he wants me to leave the house within 2 days. So I left the house. I went and rented. Okay, before I leave to the house, that point of time, to say sorry, come back to you again. My wife met an accident. 1996, June 10. I almost lost her. Okay, she was hit by a one-ton lorry. She was under the lorry for 100 meters. And she lost her hand, left hand. The left hand, the Allen fracture on her shoulder broke. She couldn't carry her hand. She was admitted in Tawakal nearly over 3 months. Then she came back. So when she came back, after that, my brother asked me to leave the house. I can't even eat, I can't even have my lunch. I don't even money have, my wife and I don't have money to take lunch. You know, how do you want me to go and rent another house? I was telling him, he says, no, you leave. After all this help, his housing loan help, his debt with his friends, all I helped. Some along came looking for him in the house. I also settled everything. But end of the day, I paid the interest. The interest that I paid for him nearly about 250 over 1,000. But the amount that I borrowed from the along is only about, I think about 40,000 to 50,000 only. You see, I was paying. And then what happened? I shifted. When I shifted, I couldn't pay the housing. I mean, I shifted, I rented a house, I couldn't pay. That point of time, I took a very bad, drastic action. I thought of losing my family twice. I thought of going away somewhere where, you know, to do something very bad. I tried. So I looked back and told myself, if I'm going to go, what is going to happen to my wife? You think the along going to come and just keep quiet? They're going to come after my son and my family. So I said, no, let me sort of another thing, whatever problem that I'm going to solve, let me talk to the alongs and all. So I was going through this, that house that I rented, he wants to sell the house. He wants to ask us to move out also. So my wife said, we will buy over the house. Okay, but we got no money to buy over the house. My mother-in-law came in between, and my wife, her jewelry, all the jewelry she sold, all I sold. We found it, we couldn't take, we couldn't do anything. We start paying the along, we start paying, you know, our debts and all, everything and all. And this house came in between. We also got a house. We bought a house. I don't know how to pay the house, the housing loan also. So what happened was, my mother-in-law helped me also on this about a few months. So my wife started paying for the housing loan, start selling the jewelries and jewelries and jewelries. We had a lot of jewelries at that point of time. We lot of jewelries we had. So I don't have a car. I only ride a Chris motorbike. Okay, this motorbike also, it was a lucky draw that I got. Okay, I did not buy it cash or whatever it is. So from there, my wife was expecting. The house that I said downstairs got no room, only upstairs. So we moved from there to another house, a terrace house. So that house that I moved away, I rented because that house belongs to us. So what happened was, I couldn't pay because I was paying this along nearly a month, nearly about $6,000 a month, where my salary only $850. I think you can imagine how much I've been borrowing after that from friends and relatives. Nobody wants to come and see me. Nobody wants to come and see my family. Nobody wants to come and see, nobody wants to come see me, even my friends and my family members. Nobody came and helped us. One day, it was so heavy rain. I went to see my sister. My tire punctured. I just asked her to $10 to patch up my tire. She said she got no money. You see, this is what happens to me when I went into a long problem. After that came housing loan problem. I couldn't pay. The bank they lelong my house. What happened was, after lelong the house, the bank suing me bankruptcy. And my wife saw the paper, star paper. She called me up. She told me, the bank is suing us. Now what is going to happen? We're all going to lose our job. I don't know what to do. I went to the banker. I went to the bank. I spoke to the bank. There, when I went to the bank, the credit officer told me, no. After auction the house, the balance I still have to pay. and I have to pay in one go. So I don't know what to do. I almost cried to her. I told her that no, I couldn't pay. I got no money to pay. This is what I'm going through. I'm with Along. Now it is housing loan and all. Then she said no. Then I came down. One of the staff told me what happened. Then she told me, go and seek help from Bank Negara. I said, how to go and seek help when the banker itself told me I cannot. She said she cannot help me. How to go and seek help? She said, go and get help from Bank Negara. So I went there. As I walked in, it was on the left-hand side. I still remember. I walked in. I printed out my secrets report. There was this officer, a Malay lady, was seated down there, and she told me, she called my number. Then I went and saw her. She was the first person. Sorry, she was the first person. She told me, come, let me see your problem. I only had two things in my hand. One was the secrets report. The other one is the bankruptcy report, bankruptcy letter. I don't have anything else. I went and seek help from her. She told me, no problem, Guna. Let me call the banker first. She called the banker. She spoke to the banker. And she told me first thing is, go to AKPK. They will help you. I said, I don't know where is AKPK. I don't know what is AKPK. She told me AKPK in Maju Junction. Go and seek help from them. This Bank Negara officer, she was the first God that I've seen her, like a God. She told me, your problem can be solved, but you go and seek help from AKPK. Okay, I went to AKPK. The door that opened, I saw the first person was Chikalit. Sorry to mention the name, but I got to mention the name. I saw Chikalit. Okay, he asked me to go and sit. Before sitting, asked me to register myself. So I registered myself. I went and sat. I saw a few people sitting down there in the chair. I suppose that same problem like me, or it's not that. So one of the officers came from there. He told me, anybody new here or anybody today new to AKPK? Then I took out my hand. I said, I'm new. He asked me to go into the room. About 7 of us went into the room. We went and heard one ceramah. Actually, what is AKPK means. And the 3 things that I learned from there is, in 15 minutes, I learned 3 best things in my life. What is AKPK? How AKPK can help you? And within how many days AKPK can solve your problem? And the 4th thing, AKPK is all free. All free. Okay. After 15-20 minutes from the ceramah, I came out. I was seated. Then my first counselor was Miss Annie Tan. She called me into the room. That time also, I only 2 papers in my hand. She said, she saw my secrets report. She saw my letter. She said, Guna, she did not tell me anything. Guna, okay, please go and bring this document that I need. If you can, bring along your wife, because it's a joint venture housing loan. Okay. And I said, okay. The next day, I came to AKPK. I brought the documents. I showed her the documents. She said, okay, you can go into where the PC is, the computer is. Please key in. There are certain questions are there. Please key in. So I told my wife to go back first. I will key in and all. Just wanted to share with you, I don't know how to key in a computer also. Because I'm a rank and file. I'm an office boy. I promoted as a clerk. Then I was promoted to officer. I'm a rank and file. I'm always in all these ledger books and all. I'm not good in PCs and all. I went there. There's one staff who came there and asked me, macam mana I nak tolong you? Then I said, I don't know how to key in. I don't know how to start the thing also. She said, let me start for you. Sit down and key in. She sat beside me. I keyed in all the important things. I keyed in. Then the copy of it, I sent it to Miss Tan. Then I waited for a while. Then she called me into the room again. Then she said, 2 days time, she will call me. In 2 days' time, she called me in. I came with my wife. Before talking to the bank, she asked me, after seeing my breakdown and all, can you pay 400? Sorry, can you pay this figure? Sorry, can you pay this figure? I saw the figure, I was shocked because I was owing the bank very big sum. And she asked me to pay, can you pay this sum? Can both of you all, can you and your wife can pay this sum monthly? I said, why not can? I said, no problem. But my bankruptcy, he says, no problem. Can you all pay? I said, yes, we can pay. No problem, we can pay. So she said, okay. That was the 4th day. The 5th day, she called us in back. They told me that from this month onwards, you pay this figure for a certain amount of years. She gave me a proposal. This month, you start paying for certain years. She gave me a proposal. We start paying. Okay, it's downline about 4 years, 4 to 5 years. We paid every month without fail. Every month without fail. And that point of time, I've introduced so many people to AKPK. Don't wait and seek for anybody's help. Go to AKPK, tell your problem, you can get. Within down the time, the 4 years, I learned something from AKPK. Don't have to go and get sick from anybody. Either you go to AKPK with your bank's problem, Along's problem, you sit down and talk to them. I become a very brave person. I don't want to run away from anybody. No doubt I owe people. I don't have to run. I'm not cheating them. I cannot pay. So I need to talk to them. So when I came to see, after Ms. Pistan told me to pay monthly 400, we start paying. We did not fail. We did not fail a single month. We did not miss a single month of the payment. After the 4th year, after the 4.5 years, paid, I had some cash. I left the bank, sorry. Immediately I left the bank. Reason because I had, with the stress and all, I had a heart problem. I had an angina attack, they call it. Angina attack. I was admitted in Damai Hospital. After that, I was transferred to IJN. So the doctor told me, he says, Mr. Guna, I couldn't do anything with your son because your vessels, because it's too narrow. And please try to reduce your stress, he told me. If can, your stress makes you this kind in this stage. So my wife was crying. And my both son was too young. Okay. And I left the bank job. And I came out. I did a lot of odd jobs. Odd jobs, I did a lot of like hotel taxi driving, personal driving, because I need to have more money. My wife was looking after the AKPK's problem. I was looking after all the Along's problem. I don't want them to come to my house. Okay, I don't want them to come to my wife's office. I don't want them to call my wife. Every month, when they call, I pay. So I started calling each and everybody and tell them I cannot pay any more interest. I only can pay your principal amount monthly, certain amount that I can afford to pay. I spoke to all the Alongs. So I had one list of names that I even borrowed $30. Even $30 I went and borrowed to a lady, old lady, who's selling fish. That lady's name also I written down in the list. I should settle before I die. So what I did was, we settled off AKPK's problem first. And Along's problem I was settling. We settled AKPK's problem. I had some money and all. We went to the bank and negotiated. The bank refused. We went back to AKPK. There was a negotiator there. He called me in. He told me, no problem, Guna. Just give me a day. I'll negotiate for you. He negotiated whatever that I had that point of time to settle my housing loan, my car loan, and my credit card. My credit card was not a big amount. My car loan was not a big amount. My housing loan was very, very big amount. And AKPK brought it down and gave me a figure. And I could settle that money within 4.5 years. Okay, I have settled. They given me a release letter from the bank. AKPK has given me a release letter. After that, I concentrate on my Along. and my wife. So we start paying alongs. We call them in and then we start talking to them. Just wanted to share. Along is not is someone you can solve. Even you got housing loan, car loan problem, all you can go to as Datin was saying just now. Please go to the bank as it is now. Go negotiate. If you cannot negotiate, please go to AKPK. Please don't wait for tomorrow. There'll be no tomorrow for you. Don't go last minute like what I did. I went last minute. I was very, very lucky to tell you, very, very lucky to save our jobs. Very, very lucky to, very, very lucky. It is very lucky. I couldn't believe that I can solve my housing loan problem within 7 working days. I couldn't believe. I could not believe. So please. Then about downline around 8 years back, I called along and I had all the list that even I borrowed for $30, right, up to 20,000 people. 20,000 ringgit to people all I have settled. Today, and my wife, we have saved a lot of money and she have bought our house. I don't owe anybody. I can walk out anytime. I can go to people's function. Before, I don't even go to function. I don't even go to my family function. Don't even invite me for a function. Because they all find that I owe the bank. I owe people. They're scared. When I call them also, they're scared. They don't even pick up my call because they're scared I ask them the money. But now, if I don't go to their function, they'll be very sad. Every day they'll be calling, make sure tomorrow function, make sure next week's the function. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling to you, you have a problem, you need to seek help. As it is now, a lot of people going to, having problem with this and all. But what I did, two drastic thing, wanted to do two drastic thing. I don't want anybody to do that. If you can, please go early and seek help. Help is not along itself. Please go and seek help from banks. You cannot go and see Bank Negara people. You cannot go to AKPK. If you find, if you find you are in very bad shape, please run to AKPK first. Okay, please run to AKPK. And you tell the AKPK what is your problem. They are all the counselors, they don't see who are you. You can be a taxi driver or you can be a GM, they don't bother. You walk into their door, they are there to help you. They are there to, their front counters and their officers, all they're excellent people. They can solve your problem, they can solve. Just to thank nothing, Bank Negara, I don't know her name today, but I tell you, she was the most wonderful person to show me what is AKPK is. And I feel like crying, but I feel like something very different in my life. She's like a God for me. Told me that you can solve your problem, but you must go to the right place. Don't seek any along help. Along is not a problem solver. It is always the more problems you face. Yes, they are good. Alongs are good because they pay you there and there. But when they collect from you, it's not good lah. It is affect all your family, your work, and everything. If you have anything to do with housing loan, car loan, personal loan, credit card loan, please go and seek help from AKPK. If you need more infos, Bank Negara people are there. They are always there. The staffs are always there. You go and print your secrets report. Now you can even print your secrets report, in AKPK. Go and seek assist. Please do not go and do something that I try to do. Please don't. It doesn't benefit. You look back and see your family will get, your family will be there. And, they cannot help you. They cannot do anything for you. Okay, this is my experience that I've shared. To share with you. The last thing is.
Thank you.
Please go and get seek help from AKPK and Bank Negara, and they're always there to help you all. Don't wait for last moment. Please don't wait for last moment like what I did. Today I bought a house. My wife bought a house. And we are happy. My son is working. my other son is leaving to college. I don't have to owe people. I don't have to go. It's all because of two things I did. One, I went to bank. One I went to the bank. One I went to Bank Negara. The other one I went to AKPK. AKPK, the 15 minutes of the counseling changed my life.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gunasekaran, for sharing your very personal story. I'm sad and also very moved on your story, and at the same time, I'm also very pleased and very happy that you managed to resolve your financial problems and are now living a better life. And I think you mentioned many times to go to AKPK early, and also you mentioned the person who helped you to lead you to AKPK is a staff or a personnel at Bank Negara. So with that, I would like to pose my, thank you again, Mr. Gunasekaran. With that, I would like to pose my second question to Datin Alina. You mentioned about the bank just now, and Mr. Gunasekaran also mentioned about AKPK, but maybe I would like Datin to comment as Central Bank or Bank Negara, what can Bank Negara do to help consumers in facing their financial distress?
Thank you, Puan Haslinda, and thank you, Mr. Gunasekaran, for giving definitely a testimony that help is there, and we can continuously get help. Going back to Puan Haslinda's question, as a central bank, we are definitely one of our roles is to ensure that the financial institutions treat their financial consumer fairly. The word is fairly. So whatever it is, the financial institutions are supposed to be there to help. However, sometimes if you do seek help and you feel that you're not given the right kind of help, nor you think that the bank can do further, please go and complain first to their call centers or their complaint center, because all banks have complaint centers and they are supposed to look into your issues first. Failing which, then you come to Bank Negara. All right. When you come to Bank Negara, there are various ways that you can get help. One is through link. Just now, Mr. Gunasekaran mentioned that you can walk in. We no longer have that for the time being, but you can make appointment and come to Bank Negara because of the SOPs and all that. So make an appointment first and then come. But nevertheless, it's actually a few digits away. You can actually call Telelink. All right. There are officers there, and these are not clerks. These are officers who are well trained to help you, and they will do their best to help, and they will not turn down any of the calls. And in fact, if you ask me, we are very how do I say? We are very strict to ensure that we do not have any drop calls, and all calls are entertained. And it's normally open during office hours. So Bank Negara has a one-stop center to help financial consumers with advisory and to help them get redress from the financial institutions. And again, I have to stress the fact that no problem is complicated. Even if it is very, very complicated, we'll escalate it to the right kind of officers to help. So this is the Bank Negara's role, to make sure that assistance is available. And then even then also, if you're not satisfied, there's the Ombudsman office for financial services. So they are supposed to help to give an independent and a fair and efficient avenue to resolve disputes between financial consumer and their financial institutions. So in the end of the day, it's back to the fact that help is available anywhere, and everywhere. And of course, when you come to Bank Negara, we will assess the issue. And in most cases, we find that AKPK can help. So that's why, a lot of people like Mr. Gunasekaran, they were asked to go to AKPK. And again, AKPK has also assisted thousands of people, if not in the millions. Puan Fazlin will be able to tell you better. But in the end of the day, consumers must reach out. Yeah, these are your rights. And you have the right for a fair treatment from the banks. And if you don't, there are avenues for you to go to and to make sure that your issues are resolved.
Thank you, Datin. Thank you for sharing with us the various channels that consumers can resort to. And
My next question is posed to Puan Fazlin. I think over the years you have been with AKPK, and I'm sure you have had a very extensive experience in dealing with consumers with financial distress. So if you can actually share with everyone here today the early warning signals of the financial distress, and what are the steps that the consumers can take to address this. And last but not least, what is, or maybe if you can further add or strengthen AKPK's assistance in providing this help to the consumers to address this financial distress. Over to you, Puan Fazlin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Haslinda. So here, when do we actually get help? So we normally would realize that we are now facing really tight cash flow position every month. That is actually the first sign that you need help. For example, when you need to juggle your monthly expenditure because the money is limited, or when you use your credit card to support the monthly expenses. But here, after hearing from Mr. Guna just now, I just want to remind everyone not to resort to unlicensed money lenders, which is totally going to be a wrong decision altogether. And because just now I mentioned that your cash flow is you tend to miss certain payment, and maybe also sometimes you don't pay your bills on time. And because of that, you will be like choosing which bills to pay first. Maybe this month you pay your housing loan, next month you pay your car loan and things like that. And because of that, this thing will escalate to become a bigger problem where banks are going to start sending letters of demand or recall your facility. And in the case of Mr. Guna, just now you heard that he received a bankruptcy actions against him. Okay, so this is when you should start seeking for help. So there is also this question, how early is early? There are signs to indicate that you are in financial predicament. There are signs that we can actually ask ourselves, if you see any of these signs, you should take some actions to sort of like do something about it. Don't wait until it's too late. First of all, for instance, you spend more than you earn, you're not living within your means. That's normal. And then you relieve paycheck to paycheck. We just need to wait for the next salary to come in, and then we are missing our bills altogether, and then we are starting getting calls from the banks. And then, as I mentioned, the banks are taking legal action against us. But the thing is, on the other hand, it is about in terms of savings, we should see if we are not saving, meaning that if there were to be any emergencies to occur, we are gonna resort to, like borrowings or using our credit card, borrowing for family and friends, so things like this are already indication. So these are like early warning signs to say that you are, you need to own up and sort of like decide that you need to do something about it. So in terms of AKPK, what we do is we always stress on 4 A's lah. First, we are saying that the first A is you need to acknowledge. You need to come to your senses, to reality that you have a problem. Like Mr. Guna, he did. He acknowledged that he had a problem, so he walked to the bank and asked for help. Okay, so but unfortunately, there are people out there who do not realize that they have financial trouble and they continue to, live with their current lifestyle and things like that. So they live in denials. So the first A is actually to acknowledge. The second A is to analyze, which you need to assess your financial standing. Maybe you want to prioritize certain bills or debts which is now overdue and things like that. So you need to analyze. And lastly is to act. Act is where you need to sort of like go and see your banks. Like I think Alina mentioned much earlier that the banks are ever willing to help you. They have got plans for repayment assistance, relief plans for you to be able to pay back your debts. And then lastly, of course, there's AKPK. So now coming back to AKPK, what do? We promote prudent financial management as a way of life for all Malaysians. We want Malaysians to be financially resilient. We provide financial education, we provide financial advisory, and as what Mr. Guna experienced was he enrolled into our debt management program. So we have got 11 branches altogether, and our branches are now open, but we are also making ourselves available online. You just go to our website and fill up the necessary forms and we will get back to you. And the best thing of all is the services offered by AKPK is free of charge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that sharing, Puan Fazlin. I think it's most insightful because you've got the 4 A's that you mentioned just now. You have to acknowledge, you have to analyze, and then you have to act proactively. And then last but not least, AKPK. And you also mentioned that AKPK is available whether online or offline. Yeah, so that I think shouldn't be an excuse for any consumers not to reach out to AKPK. Thank you, Puan Fazlin. Okay, my last questions. My last question to Encik Guna Sekaran. We heard your story just now, and we know that you have successfully graduated from the debt management program with AKPK. So we'd like to hear more from you, Encik Guna Sekaran. Maybe you can share how you actually the process, or how you actually engage AKPK, how you the process for you to get yourself out from the debt management, and what is your advice to all the consumers out there, especially those who are struggling with their debts now?
Okay, I just wanted to share, as Puan Fazlin was telling to you all, sharing, don't wait for last moment. As it is now, you know you cannot pay for the first month itself. You know, if you are earning, and then you got your monthly payment for all these utility bills and everything. As it is now, you can't even do anything. Please go and seek help. Go and seek help. What I'm trying to say is, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Go and seek help from AKPK, or AKPK is the best place to get help. If you ask me how I came out from Sun, is I really struggled. I struggled a lot when I came out, and I and my wife was very, very happy. I got a wonderful wife. She's a wonderful person. She helped me a lot, and she told me, whatever happens, we don't even eat, go and pay AKPK. She used to tell me that. Okay, we paid. And then what I'm trying to say is, once you are in that program, in AKPK's program, please go and pay monthly. Don't if you got a problem in a year, I mean, you got a problem. If they gave you a proposal, go according to that, and don't you pay for 1 year, then you stop. Then the bank come after you again, you go back again to AKPK. I mean, it's not fair for them. When you need, they are there. Make use of them. They will help you settle all your problems. You can settle all your problems, and you find very easy, very, very, very easy to talk to them. Their counselors are very good. They will advise you like no. So last not least, please go to AKPK. Don't go to Alung. Don't. Because AKPK is free, and I always like to thumbs up for 2 people here. There's one is Bank Negara, and the other one is AKPK. That's all I can say this. See, they are the best people that I've come across in this world. They are the friends and also family for me. They are first friends and first family. AKPK and Bank Negara. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Encik Guna Sekaran. I think we heard from you, and that the lessons and the way that you managed to come out of this difficulty is definitely useful advice and tips for all the consumers. Thank you for that sharing, Encik Guna Sekaran. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of our session today. But before we end, I'd just like to remind everyone to take on the pop quiz that we have at the end of the session. You will be eligible for lucky draw prizes if you take on the pop quiz. Yes. So don't forget to participate. Yeah. And to all the 3 panelists here today, thank you very much for your sharing. I think it has been very useful, and I really hope that everyone here has benefited. With that, thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Datin talking. Thank you, Rufashin. Thank you to everybody to share.